Hello and welcome. My name is Tom Kunith with Cisco Advanced Services, and in this video we're going to talk about what is SD WAN. So along with what is SD WAN, we're going to talk about the why. Why now? After all these years of doing networking in the wide area networking with routers and switches and circuits, what is different about SD WAN and what are some of the business challenges that drive us towards it? And then also we're going to talk about the architecture. We're going to go into some of the deep details to kind of tee off the rest of the course. So with me today, I have Zane Mirza, who's a technical marketing engineer at Cisco.
How you doing?
How you doing, Zane?
Good, thanks.
Alongside Zane, we have Karel, also a technical marketing engineer. How you doing, Karel?
Good, Tom. Glad to be here.
You guys ready to learn? The man that's going to do all the heavy lifting today is Ali Sheikh. He's a technical leader in our enterprise networking group. Ali, take it away.
Thanks, Tom. We're going to start off with looking at what is SD-WAN. SD-WAN is the story of applying software-defined networking concepts to the wide area networking space. So let's talk about first why we're doing this. The three things driving software-defined wide area networking are efficiency, experience, and security. When we talk about efficiency, the network landscape is changing insofar as there are multiple transports available and multiple enterprises want to be able to leverage the fact that these transports exist. In addition to being able to leverage these transports, they actually want to manage them in a simplified fashion as well. The next thing is that networking is now very much in the limelight with regard to application experience. All the enterprises, service providers, all entities care about the quality of experience that they get for their applications. So the network now needs to be intelligent and smarter about providing that quality of experience, as well as being able to provide visibility into what's happening with the applications in this environment. And then finally, security. This is a huge factor. Every enterprise, every customer, every entity needs to have strict controls for audit and compliance, as well as be able to mitigate existing and ongoing evolving threats in the networking landscape.
So Ali, I had a question. When you talk about multiple transport types, I remember with IWAN, it was all about MPLS plus internet, hybrid networking. Is this the same challenge that's driving the SD-WAN landscape?
The question that you bring up is excellent. With traditional networking, we saw the multiple transports being utilized. But as the course of the years, the transports now aren't just limited to one or two. Enterprises are now seeing that there's any number of transports available in different geographic regions. What that means is I may have MPLS, Metro Ethernet, LTE, broadband, VSAT, private lines. There's a huge myriad of combinations that customers can use to leverage the transport for their enterprises.
Okay. And so when you talk about efficiency, it's perhaps steering applications towards the appropriate transport rather than just try to load balance. I can remember in the old days, trying to bring up internet circuits only to find that they, were very well supportive of certain applications, and they really just kind of sat there as backup.
Absolutely. When we talk about experience and efficiency, we want to highlight the fact that these transports that we have, we just don't want them sitting there idly for backup or disaster recovery type scenarios. We want to use everything that we have in the most efficient way possible to provide that application experience and to be able to see everything in a simplified way. But now that we're using all of this, got to make sure it's secure. Everything's got to be encrypted, everything's got to be protected, and I've got to have audit and compliance for all of these transports.
One quick question in regards to visibility is SD-WAN allows us to take a look at all of our circuits to see how they perform. Can you get into that, how visible SD-WAN, the capability gives us?
Absolutely. I think one of the things as we go through all the different sections that will lead us is that we're going to talk about what SD-WAN is going to do for us for these transports. We're going to see everything. We're going to know how the performance is on all of them and be able to steer traffic on all of them. So that tees off into the key SD-WAN capabilities that we want to highlight. We want to be able to deploy branches in a simple fashion across any transport. So all that conversation about all the circuits that we have, we want to be able to leverage anything and everything to bring up all of our sites as quickly as possible. Now, one of the things that we also want to focus on is the fact that the way applications are consumed are changing. So we want to be able to leverage the fact that our network should now also be able to extend into any different types of endpoints. That is, I might have public cloud infrastructure, private cloud infrastructure, data centers, colos. I should be able to leverage any of those endpoints as well, so that the transports that I use to connect my network allow me to connect into any type of infrastructure to deliver the quality of experience I want for my applications. And then finally, remembering that security is paramount. No matter what transports we use, no matter what endpoint we go to consume the application, everything has to be encrypted, has to be secure.
So Ali, compared to the traditional deployments, how does it simplify? What makes it a superior solution to the traditional WAN deployments? And how does it save costs for the customers?
So there's a couple of things that you've highlighted here, and let's unpack them. When we talk about how does it simplify things, well, when we deliver a mechanism to deploy these solutions in a simplified fashion through centralized dashboards, through automated programming of configuration, through zero-touch provisioning, you'll see that the actual overhead in bringing up the site is very, very low. So we're simplifying what it takes to bring up the environment. By having the flexibility to use any transport, I'm again adding additional simplification in that no matter what circuit got delivered to my remote location, I can bring up my site without a problem. And then finally, when you talk about cost, now that I have the flexibility to choose between all these different options, I can mix and match and decide what is most cost-effective for me. So I may choose to use internet circuits only and move all of my application server endpoints into the public cloud because I've negotiated a particular rate at that point. In other situations, I may want to keep MPLS, but now I can negotiate the price for MPLS as I use internet and 4G in different fashions. So the fundamental thing we want to give the customer is choice. They should be able to consume whatever they need in order to get the application experience they want.
One question with the MPLS and the internet. With the MPLS, there is a guaranteed availability, right? But with internet, there is nothing like that. If it's available, it's available. There is no guarantee to that. How do you ensure the applications stay active or alive with the internet as a transport?
So what we have to recognize is that all these different types of transports will have different characteristics. Some of them will give guaranteed quality, some of them won't. Some of them will have higher bandwidth, some of them won't. Those aspects get factored into when a customer makes the decision how they want to use their transport. With regard to SD WAN, SD WAN gives you visibility into the quality of the transport. We can't make the internet more reliable, but we can give the customer visibility into how the internet is behaving at any given time and allow you to choose what application goes where. Fundamentally, we're trying to make sure that the customer has full control over the quality of experience for their application. So even if issues happen within the transport, if we're able to mitigate it by switching it to a different path, we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll provide you visibility into the fact that this application did suffer degradation because there was no other alternative path, and the primary path it was on has suffered some quality issues.
One big component of the solution is security, as you mentioned. So inherently, security is front and center. Can you explain that a bit more?
So when we talk about the security aspect, everything that we build over any of these transports is encrypted using IPsec. This ensures that no matter what the transport is, in a simplified fashion, you have encryption end-to-end over all transports for all applications. In addition, we provide full segmentation capabilities, allowing you to separate out all the different types of traffic at a given site. So if I have corporate users, if I have guest wireless, if I have printers, I'm able to create segments to keep all those different domains separated from each other. Insofar, and we also provide full visibility for what's happening on the branch in vManage to provide you visibility for all of this infrastructure.
And I guess there would also be some internet edge protection for your your branch routers that connect directly to the internet. There would be some type of access control capabilities or
So
firewall.
the branch itself is fundamentally a full-fledged router in SD WAN. In addition, having this kind of capability to tie in all these different endpoints over different transports, we can talk about the fact that we can now have secure gateways integrated, we can leverage cloud security stacks, we can leverage security capabilities local to the site. The options now also become more expansive because the solution is now able to integrate all these different security models. So what does that look like from an architectural perspective? In our SD-WAN framework, there are essentially 4 main things to remember. The first thing is that we're going to build this transport-independent fabric. No matter what the endpoint is, if it's the branch, data center, public cloud, no matter what that endpoint is, we will first build that secure fabric to connect all these endpoints. The next thing is going to be providing you application visibility. What do the application patterns look like, and what is the quality of the experience for those applications? And allow you to tune what paths need to be taken, what quality of experience to have for your applications. The third thing is the means by which you consume these services. Is it physical form factor or virtual? Do I need rich service devices at my local site to handle additional capabilities apart from just SD-WAN? And am I looking at the cloud? Do I need full virtualized capabilities? Am I using branch-in-a-box or white box type capabilities? The ability to consume this in any shape or form is critical to your long-term planning. And then finally, having everything that we're talking about, whether it be the fabric, the applications, the modes by which you consume this, delivered through the cloud, giving you rich analytics into seeing what's happening in your environment, what to do about it, and how to change so that your network experience is better.
The applications that you talk about, are those the enterprise applications? Are they customizable to what the customer have? Or?
So when we talk about applications, we don't want to have any specificity with regard to what that application is. The first thing we want to see is what the applications are, and then give you visibility into what is the best way to optimize them. So for example, things that reside in your data center, those are your custom applications. And there are certain things we can do for that. There may be other applications that reside in public cloud infrastructure, such as Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, any number of those. And you want to be able to optimize pathing and provide high availability for those. And we have different flows for that. Other applications, such as software as a service endpoints, like Office 365, Salesforce, all those require different patterns. SD-WAN allows you to tune the policies based on the type of application and where it resides to give you the most optimal experience.
So to that point, if we have 3 different circuits and we say, for example, MPLS is what I prefer for a specific application, we can customize that in our implementation with SD-WAN.
Absolutely. When you look at this framework, everything boils down to, do I have a secured fabric? Are these 2 endpoints connected? Once these endpoints are connected, what is the application? And what do I want for it? Once I know what that is and where I'm consuming it, I can, in a centralized fashion, define the policy that will dictate what will happen to the application flow over this fabric.
Yes, if you look at a traditional legacy kind of network architecture, we're really ending at that secure transport fabric, right? You're completely, the WAN is usually a blind spot in traditional WAN networking, and so we really expanded quite a bit of capabilities with SD-WAN.
Absolutely. In most classical networking cases, this is where you would stop. You would have that point-to-point IPsec connection, and that would be it. You might run some probes on it or not, but that was where your boundary lay.
Yep.
With software-defined networking, you're taking the knowledge that we've built over the years and building in those capabilities native to the solution to give you these additional capabilities. So from a Cisco landscape perspective, what does it mean to talk about intent-based networking? Intent-based networking boils down to three main aspects. Translation, which is to capture your business goals. What is it that you want from a business perspective? Activation, to be able to translate these business goals into policy directives so that they take effect in your infrastructure. And then finally, assurance, to have visibility into what's happening into your infrastructure. With regard to SD WAN, as you'll go through the remainder of the course, is we'll be translating business objectives into list objects inside the Cisco SD WAN vManage infrastructure. We'll be leveraging the policy framework in this centralized platform to deliver the activation of the business policies. And then finally, we'll be having end-to-end assurance, giving us monitoring, troubleshooting capabilities for the overall infrastructure and telling us what to do to rectify network issues. This, in a nutshell, covers how SD-WAN fits in the intent-based networking world, to give us a translation of our business goals, to activate policies in a centralized fashion, and to have visibility and assurance for all of our network infrastructure.
Thanks, Ali.
Back to you, Tom.
That was quite the primer. What do you guys think? Any questions? Yeah.
It was a very good,
Yeah.
I had one last question regarding at a high level, explaining that SD-WAN front and center is also automation. So how does legacy CLI configuration differ from SD-WAN's automated configuration?
When we talk about automation from a classical standpoint to what SD-WAN is delivering, in so many cases in legacy systems, you would have standalone static configurations. Users would have to log into a router and manually enter the commands. With SD-WAN, what you will find is that this framework of translating these different goals into policy language in a centralized place will remove most of this user configuration on device-by-device basis. You will see one place where you define your objectives, your policies, and this entity will be responsible for propagating configurations to thousands of endpoints across the board. That, I think, is one of the big value propositions in Cisco SD-WAN, eliminating that human error and unifying everything in one place and giving you visibility. So this covers the overall goals of Cisco SD-WAN and how intent-based networking is delivered through SD-WAN. Back to you, Tom.
Yeah, I think that really defines it well, Ali. I really appreciate it. And looking at my notes, you really covered the why and the what. The why is just about simplicity, efficiency, and the ability to have a deep control of applications. And the what is those 4 or 5 pillars, the fabric, the secure fabric, application quality of experience, flexibility, and then intent-based networking. So thank you, and thank you for attending, and I hope you've learned more about what SD-WAN is.